guys, this is Maria, and today I'll be talking with To get things started, please tell me how you motivate yourself to carry on.
One thing that really motivates me every single day when I wake up is realizing that I have a purpose and that I'm working towards that specific purpose on a daily basis. I'm motivated with the realization that every action I do is a contribution to that domino. So if I do something, it's going to hit another domino, which will hit another domino, and there'll be a cascading effect of either good or bad results. So meaning, if what I do does not inspire positivity in society, then the results are going to be negative. If what I do inspires positivity in the community or in the people around me, then it's going to have very positive results. And realizing that I'm an agent of change, an instrument through which change can happen, motivates me and inspires me on a daily basis.
How do you think young people can find their purpose? What is this feeling that you have when you do things with purpose, and what really is that road at the beginning? What do you need to try to reach that understanding and reflection?
I realized that there were people in the community, there were people in Zambia, there were people in the world whom I looked up to. And I began by listing down all these individuals. Who are they? Where they're from? How did they grow up? Then I listed the traits and characters that I admire in them. What are their daily habits? I researched about them. What do they do differently and what sets them apart? What makes them different from an ordinary individual? I wrote that down. I thought about what skills did they have that allowed them to be where they were. I wrote all those things down. And I said, how can I begin to now work towards embodying and training myself to be like these individuals that I look up to? And every society, Maria, has got individuals, irrespective of how disadvantaged the community is. They are individuals that inspire us to take action. They are individuals that act as role models. So it's important to start listing those individuals, where they are and how are they influencing the world in a positive way. And sometimes even having a storyboard. How can you visually show where you want to go? Maybe create a story map of where you want to go, or what you want to achieve. All those little things on a daily basis culminate into helping shape your direction, but also culminates in helping you shape your career and the path that you want to take as a young person. So it takes a deeper level of self-reflection, self-introspection, and also speaking to people, because it's through conversations that incredible things end up coming out.
Is there a piece of advice that you've received at some point in your life that really changed the game?
Absolutely. I've spoken to so many people have given me advice, they have shared their wisdom with me. But as you might know, Maria, there are particular things that really stand out in life based on what we hear from others, what other people say about us, and what other people say about other individuals. I'm inspired by something that my little niece said. This is a 4-year-old child living in Zambia. And each time she saw somebody on TV who was dressed in a certain way, maybe a president or a minister, she would tell the mom that the next president is going to be Uncle BK. That's what they call me. So as simple as that may sound, she inspired me to start working towards such bigger goals. If kids can speak with confidence about how they see you, I realized that it was up to me to make sure that I live up to their expectations, and I also make sure that I don't disappoint them. That's from a little child. But I've also received wisdom from adults. One most important advice I've received is thinking about myself as an ancestor. So when everything comes to an end, life comes to an end, what kind of an ancestor do I want to be remembered for? Do I want to be remembered for as being an ancestor that brought destruction in the world? Or do I want to be remembered as being an ancestor that brought positivity in the world? So one major advice I received, which I still cherish up to now, is thinking about my life at the end of life on earth. How will people remember me? And I can shape how I want to be remembered.
That's beautiful. That really is something that I can really relate to. And you know, I'm curious because you've started at such a young age and you've had the chance to speak to a lot of young people. Is there something you preach often?
Yes, absolutely. And Maria, I think that's something very critical. It's an ingredient of life. When you live life like a leaf falling off a tree and being blown away by the wind, then you can fall for anything. One thing that I always preach about and speak about is understanding your purpose. At a very young age, you can begin to reflect on what you think you are really good at. You can begin to reflect about what you can do that's beyond self. How can you provide a service that extends beyond self? Because at the end of the day, whether you're an engineer, you're a medical doctor, you're a scientist, you're an economist, everything that you're doing should be based on mission. So what's your mission as an individual? So ever since I was 14 starting radio, I discovered that my mission in society was to bring hope to those people that are afflicted with challenges, to make them realize that there's a bright light at the end of the tunnel. I've always been reminding young people that despite where you come from, I came from a community where we had no tarred roads, no piped water. We never went to school when it was raining because on a daily basis, we would walk for an hour to get to school. Sometimes the bridge where we lived would be washed away by the floods and we couldn't attend classes. So I realized that the world is your oyster. You can do anything you want as a young person, as long as you're being responsible in your actions, but also most importantly, understanding your mission. If I understand that my mission is to heal the sick, I will start working towards that goal. I will find ways of going to medical school or find ways of being a public health expert. At a young age, understand your purpose.
So it's a perfect opportunity to get into the section which I called It Wasn't a Piece of Cake. And it's a time for me to learn about the hardest aspect of your impact journey.
It wasn't actually a piece of cake. Sometimes when I reflect on where I come from, if you had to refuse to bet on my ability to finish high school, I wouldn't consider you crazy. Because an average individual in the community in which I was raised, at the time they reached 7th grade, for young women who are vulnerable, it was either they fell pregnant and dropped out of school. For young men, it was either they engaged in illicit activities or illegal drugs and substance abuse. So it was really hard to start imagining a life beyond the community. It was very difficult for me to start imagining a life of one day coming to a school like Columbia, for example. It was very hard to imagine being a UNICEF climate ambassador, being a co-founder of a nonprofit, and now running a company that is disrupting e-commerce. So it was very challenging because if we're a product of our environment, if we're a product of the environment in which we are raised, so like growing up in these very challenging circumstances really affected my thoughts, affected my perception of society, and it required on a daily basis to master the courage to wake up, dress up, go to school, wake up, dress up, go to the radio station. And other environmental challenges like floods and droughts brought a lot of challenges growing up. But one thing that I really appreciate is that my sister played a key role in my life She was a community organizer. She had set a very good example, and I was always looking up to her. And now, when I reflect back, I realize that she really influenced and shaped my journey because I could see what she used to do for the community. Eventually, deciding to go to graduate school wasn't a piece of cake, especially being in a space where you're the only African and being in a space where majority of the people that you are with in this particular space had 50 yards ahead of you, and then you're required to catch up and compete favorably. So it's been an interesting journey, but one thing that I begin to realize is that we can shape the path of our journeys. Complaining, giving excuses, saying I was born in a community with no running water and tarred roads are stories of the past. It's about me, where I am, shaping the future and taking advantage of opportunities, creating alliances with others, brokering business partnerships with others, and realizing that we can work together irrespective of where we are born, how we look. It's about having that positive mindset and on a daily basis, waking up, mastering your courage and saying, I'll do it. It's about having the I can do it attitude.
What has been your journey to resilience?
I think it comes through daily practice, daily consistent practice. I think it's like working your muscle. The more consistent you work your muscle, the more it becomes stronger. So if you want to build strength, you have to make sure that you're eating the right diet. You also have to make sure that you're consistent with gym visits. In my case, I see building a positive character based on what we consume. What do we consume in terms of information? What do we consume in terms of relationships and the people around us? Maria, I made a deliberate decision to always keep company with people that espouse positivity. It was a deliberate decision I made. I could have chosen to hang out with anybody, but I realized that each time I'm doing an assessment of friends, I choose those that are going to add value and substance to me. I don't hang out with people that I see won't add value to me and my career. So I choose alliances based on where I want to go. That's number one. Number two, I choose what to read. I always find the right self-help books that can help me learn from people that have been there and experienced things that I'm yet to experience. That's important. Read the right books, read the right content. Number three, find mentors, people that have gone before you and have experienced things you haven't experienced. And I don't think it's an all size fits all. That's why I've decided to find mentors in different facets of my life: health, business, politics, personal growth, spirituality. All those people play a key and unique role in my life. But also, most importantly, believe in yourself. I've always believed in my capabilities to do anything. And that has come as a result of having a growth mindset, believing that I can see something, I can learn something, and I can do it. The human mind, with all our 5 billion cells, can do exponential things. But it's about how we stretch our imaginations, stretch our creativity.
That's really true. Bet on yourself and believe in your capability is just what changes your life. If you could go back in time and speak to your teenage self, you know, what would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself to conquer the world and be fearless. But most importantly, I would remind myself that I have responsibilities, and my responsibilities cannot be done by my parents, they cannot be done by my friends, but should be done by myself. And that begins with self-care. That begins with ensuring that I have the right alliances, I have the right friends, I read the right things, I exercise more often, and build myself. So I'll tell myself 2 things. I'll tell myself that the world is beautiful, plentiful opportunities. But I'll tell myself I have a responsibility to unlock all these opportunities. And I should work on it on a daily basis, consistently, without ceasing, because that's the only path through which opportunities can open for any young person, irrespective of where you are, irrespective of where you are born, irrespective of how you look, you can unlock opportunities for yourself.
Thank you so much for your time. This has been a great conversation. I've learned a ton, and I hope our viewers have too. And I really wish you the best with all your enterprises and projects ahead.